Hi, I'm currently dying, and I would like to schedule a consultation.
Sarah,
Hi there.
I'm sure you're familiar with the process. When you know you're going to die, you can have yourself cloned.
You have very clean skin. I like your shirt.
But life has thrown you a curveball. You're not dying anymore.
The duel to the death will be in approximately 1 year.
Wait, did you say duel to the death?
You can't have two of you walking around forever. That'd be ridiculous.
Do you want to live?
Yes?
I don't believe you.
I may be a size smaller than you. I'm going to kill her.
A properly trained human body is a weapon.
You're pretending to be me while I'm still alive?
Even if I can't be with her, I don't want to be with you.
Always use the gun if it's an option.
I find guns to be boring and overused.
If it's the difference between life and death, it's okay to be boring.
Your mental tricks aren't going to work. Taking over my life was the plan, not stealing it. This is my life. She's not going to take it from me. What are my chances?
0. Nothing is ever absolutely certain, though this most certainly is.
I really value your friendship. I'll miss that when you die. Speaking of which, any updates?
And
Hey, Greg.
hi, how are you, Riley?
Good, thanks.
Now, first off, Duel, I'm a huge genre fan, and what I appreciate about this film is you could have easily gone for the genre and made it a really cool guilty pleasure of a film, but there's a lot more elements at work to Duel. Was that your main intention? You know, really, a lot of black comedies are about, you know, the joke or the aesthetic value, but this is a very human film in many ways, which I don't want to really give too much away.
Yeah, I mean, it makes me feel really good to hear you say that, because I think that there is a way that some people could watch a movie like this and not find the humanity in it. So it was always a humanistic film for me. It was always a movie about how you relate to people around you and how you are the one who drives your life. And if you let yourself fall into sort of a complacency, like what do you need to get you out of that, like to become a better person, to become a better friend or loved one. So no, that means a lot to hear you say that. I feel like I've made 3 features now, and every single one of them has had a genre element to it that is only going to be like maybe the surface level, and then you've got so much going on underneath that's more important to me. And I think that genre is a great way to explore human tendencies, to explore, not that I'm addressing political themes, but politics, to explore any number of sort of topics, but through a way that people are not expecting. And I think it's a wonderful, like, genre in general, whether it's sci-fi, horror, thriller, whatever. I think that it's a great Trojan horse almost in terms of getting people to explore ideas that maybe they wouldn't have otherwise.
On exploring ideas, the idea of Duel is the fact that we live in a world where people can be cloned, and you can get anything at the moment notice with video chatting and everything. That's kind of like our society now. But with all the tech, when someone is dying, why can't we actually look them in the eye and empathize with them or sympathize with them or just connect with them? Talk about that element in your film, which I think is a really subtly hidden within the black comedy of it all. It's very heartbreaking if you really remove all those layers.
I mean, if we're looking at how Sarah is told that she's going to die and the distance there, I feel like that's something that I wanted to have. Like, we in Sarah and Peter's relationship, until we jump to the 10 months later point, you don't see them in the same room together. And that's something that, I mean, I and many other people have experienced. Like, you have so many people in your life who feel like they're super close to you, whether it's social media or video chat or whatever it is, but you never actually get to see them face to face and talk to them and have that connection. And so I feel like we can get into this place where we are lulled into this sort of disconnect with people that we do love. And for her to find out that she's dying from a video chat, I felt like there was a sadness there, but also kind of maybe an unintentional comment on society as a whole. So,
I haven't seen Faults yet, but with this film and The Art of Self-Defense, I was thinking as a cinephile, I was thinking, what does Riley go through when he's writing a script? Because each of your characters are so complex, and you really deep dive into the stories. Is the writing process for you a very solitary one, or maybe freeing because you can actually explore all of these emotions, feelings, and analysis in that whatever room you're in?
I would say it's freeing and challenging and solitary at the same time. I write by myself. I'm not a person who has a co-writer. I write to direct, so I know exactly what I write is going to be what I make, which is great. I love that sense of responsibility and that freedom, but it's also challenging because it's kind of all on you to do it. I sit with an idea for quite a while before I go to script. And when I go to script, I've structured the story in such a way that I'm very confident that its roots and its foundation are sturdy enough to then start putting up those walls and decorating it in a way that I feel like represents me at that time. But yeah, it's always challenging. It's always a little solitary in a way that feels scary. But when you come out the other side with a script that you're very proud of, and then you know that you're going to get to make, I mean, not that I knew I was going to get to make self-defense, but I thought and hoped that I would. I feel like it's a super rewarding experience to say that I did this. And then once you make the movie, you've got collaborators, and that becomes the different part of the process, which is just so much fun, and getting to work with people who are better at their job than you are at that job. And you get to kind of be the overseer, the person who guides the ship. That's where the real fun starts. As challenging as writing is, I'm realizing the older I get and the more I do it, the more that I enjoy it. It's just a tedious process at times.
I don't know if I'm making the correct comparison or an apt one, but I'm thinking Rosalind Russell and Cary Grant and His Girl Friday. They have to be two special people to actually command that kind of dialogue. And what is it like to have a collaborator like Karen, where your dialogue is very specific, the tone, and she pretty much hits the homer right out of the park, proverbially? Mm-hmm. Is that hard to find? And how great is that to just have that with you?
It's a very specific delivery that I have needed for all three of my movies, and I am completely aware of that. And I know that it's not necessarily everyone's safe space, but I think the thing that's connected all of the leads of all three of my films has been this sense of like full commitment to the project. And what that ends up entailing mostly is full trust in me as the director, that I'm not going to steer them down a path that they are that's going to not work, or that's going to put them in this position where they feel like it's not going to suit the character or suit the movie. I think that there's always been a full trust on the actors' ends that I know the overall feeling of the movie, and that I'm going to be there to help them achieve that with me. Similarly, I've always had implicit trust in them as creators. And so it's not like it's just my say. I want them to bring themselves to the character. I want them to have a relationship with the character that I might not even have. But I think the trust on everyone's end is the biggest thing. And that's something that Karen, Aaron, and Beulah came into on Duel. Luckily, they'd already been able to watch my other films, so they knew sort of the space that we wanted to be in. But even then, I feel like this movie's different than those other two movies in its own way. And so coming in, having an initial idea of what it was probably going to be, but then also being able to change when I needed that to be one way or the other. I'm very lucky that I get to work the way that I work.
This answer will probably take forever to answer, but I just want to ask you, with the films I've seen, you could have easily going back to the first question, you can easily make an entertaining, just broad canvas type of film. But it seems to me that cinema and storytelling is very important to you. Can you just talk about going those two roads, knowing that you can easily go one road if you wanted to, but you're really sticking on this really interesting path? Where did you realize that this was the path you wanted to go? And obviously you can go many different paths, but yeah, you could have easily gone that way.
Well, I think the thing is that it's an instinctual thing. I don't consciously come at a thing and say, this is how it has to be because I don't want to do the thing that they're not expecting. It's more, I know when I know. So it's conscious in the sense that I am actively thinking about the project and actively trying to figure out what it's going to be, but I'm not going like, oh, everyone else would do this, I got to do this to be different. It just naturally tends to be that my perspective is very much a certain thing. And so when I come to create something, that is impossible for me to kind of shake. It's just, I know what I do. I know like how I write. I know how I create. It's funny. I think that, and I've said this before in interviews, a lot of my peers are, I feel like it's more, there was a generation that sort of did this in a specific era where you would come into a project and you'd be like, I don't care if anybody else likes it, I'm making this for myself. And like, I cannot work that way. Like you mentioned, you can make this big entertaining sort of thing. And at the end of the day, I want everything I do to be entertaining, but it might be entertaining in its own way. So I think that Duel is very funny. I feel like Duel has themes and topic or explores topics that are interesting. It may not be entertaining like big action movie might be, like a spectacle, but there's always an element of entertainment to it. And if there's not, for some people, I get it. But for most people, I think coming into a movie like Duel, even if they're challenged at times, hopefully they're going to find something that is entertaining about it. So yeah.
Riley, really loved your film. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really, really nice.
All right, take care, man. Bye-bye.